Hi, my name is James Lantier, and I'm the CEO of Mindset Pharma.
And I'm Joseph Rujo. I'm the CSO of Mindset Pharma.
So we recently put out an announcement about some communication we received from the US Patent Office on one of our patent applications for one of our families of new drug candidates. And we received what's called a notice of allowance, which essentially means that the patent office intends to grant your patent. Now, the world of patents and intellectual property rights can be a bit confusing. And we know there's some questions about why this notice was important and about what terms like priority dates mean. So we thought we'd put out this short explanation to provide some context. So first, just some basics about Mindset. Mindset is a biotechnology company that's focused on leveraging the capabilities of psychedelic drugs in order to create new optimized psychedelic and non-psychedelic medicines for central nervous system indications with unmet medical needs. And as we've explained before, our view from the very beginning was that new drugs would be really valuable for two basic reasons. Number one, we felt like there was an opportunity to create better medicines by applying modern biotechnology to these powerful substances. And there was an opportunity really to create drugs that could be safer and more effective and potentially have a more convenient duration. The second reason why we felt like new drugs were really the valuable area to focus on is that new compounds could have much stronger intellectual property rights than drugs like psilocybin, which have been in the public domain for many decades. And for pharma, intellectual property rights really are critical to driving revenue and margins and shareholder returns. And intellectual property really does drive our business.
So let me take a few minutes and just try and describe in fairly simple terms how one goes about patenting a new drug and what that process looks like. And there's several things that you can patent. You can patent a manufacturing process or potentially a use case, but one of the strongest patents that you can file is called a composition of matter patent. And really what you're patenting is a novel, non-obvious chemical structure that will eventually, hopefully, become a drug one day and isn't obvious to an expert in the field. So essentially, it's a chemical or a molecule that's never really been synthesized or evaluated or spoke of before. So when you file the patent, there's an assessment that's done by a highly qualified examiner in the field, and they basically determine whether what you've put in that patent meets the criteria of patentability and non-obviousness. So this process, once you file a patent, can take several years and is quite involved and time-consuming. And when you think about how this operates in a really competitive space like psychedelic medicine, there's lots of inventors and scientists working in the field, and potentially they're thinking about some of the same molecules and are potentially patenting the same molecules. And it's crucial, the patent becomes crucial to understand who actually owns the invention. And that's really based on the first date that a patent application discloses that invention with supporting information on what that invention is. And so that first date where one submits a patent is referred to as a priority date. So in other words, the priority date refers to the earliest filing date for a specific innovation mentioned in a patent application. So that becomes a really important way of trying to understand within a competitive space who might own something first. And really it's based on that first date to file. So even if there's overlapping products, that becomes a crucial underlying factor. So one can have several claims or maybe even claim the same compounds within a patent, but ultimately an examiners might allow those patents, but ultimately when one goes back to try and understand who owns the invention, it comes down to who filed that patent first and who has the earliest priority date.
Because Mindset was able to recognize the importance and the opportunity of new drugs really early on. We were able to get many of our patents filed with very early priority dates, which really increases the likelihood that we would own the rights to these compounds, to the compounds described in our patent applications. And it also really de-risks the likelihood that others could challenge our rights. Really, in order to attract big pharma to your innovations, you really need a solid patent date with a solid patent with a really secure priority date. And that's really why when we talk about this notice of allowance, we really emphasized the priority date of that patent's filing. So hopefully this explanation was helpful. And as always, if you'd like to discuss Mindset or our programs, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Thanks so much for watching.